The next spooky pattern I'll be teaching you how to crochet is this little Mike Wazowski plushie. He's a little monster, and this is a pattern written by me. It's a really easy pattern, so I hope you love it. Let me show you how to make it. I will be using a brown, green, white and blue, and some black yarn as well as some scissors, a stitch marker, a 4.5mm hook, a needle and some stuffing. We'll be starting with the magic ring with 6 single crochets in it. So to do a magic ring, you want to get your thumb and your ring finger and pinch this piece. You want to make it cross over your first 2 fingers, and then you want to hold it with your pinky. So there should be an X here and 2 straight lines there. And then you want to put your hook through the middle and pick up this strand on the left, pull it through, turn your hand upside down, and then get the piece on the left once again and pull it through the loop that was on your hook. I do apologize, my voice is going a little bit. So this is your magic ring, and we need to do 6 single crochets into this magic ring. So the first thing we do is a chain. So you're going to chain 1, and this will count as your first stitch. So as I said, we need to do 6. This will be your first one, and then we're going to do 5 more single crochets. So you're going to go in through the middle of the magic ring, pull up a loop. So you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then pull through 2. And that is now a single crochet. So we're just going to do 4 more of these. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we now have 6 single crochets. We untangle that and then pull this nice and tight. In the next round, you're going to do an increase in each stitch around. So we're going to find our first stitch, which is just here in that gap, and we're going to do an increase. So an increase is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So we've just inserted our hook. We're going to continue and do a regular single crochet. Then we're going to join our stitch marker on so we know which one was the first stitch we did. And then back into that same hole, we're going to go and do another single crochet. Same way we've just been doing them. And now there's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, that's an increase. So you're going to do that in each stitch around, and you've got 5 more of these to do. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Onto the next round, we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that sequence 6 times. So a regular single crochet, join on your stitch marker, and then an increase in the next stitch. 1 and 2. Then a single crochet in the next, and then an increase in the next. I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and increase. So you should have 18 stitches if you want to count it. Onto the next round, I'm going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So here's a single crochet, join our stitch marker back on, then a second single crochet, and then an increase. 1 and 2. So single crochet, second single crochet, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2. And in the last stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to change color. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go back for the increase and do a second one, but we're not going to complete it. We're going to get our next color, put it over our hook, and pull it through the 2 loops. So you should have the new color on your hook now. and just pull the green piece so it's nice and tight. Then in the next round, we're going to start off with a bubble stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're going to do the bubble stitch in the brown. A bubble stitch is just 5 double crochets joined together as one. So we're going to yarn over. Then in the next stitch, you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and then pull through 2 loops. So we've just gone through those 2, not all of them. So there should still be 2 loops on your hook. And then we're going to repeat that 4 more times. So we're going to yarn over, go back into that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then pull through 2. So 3 more times. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So at the end you should have 6 loops on your hook, and then we're going to switch back to the green. So we can drop this brown, we're going to pick up our green again, yarn over, and then we're going to pull this green through all of the loops. And that is how you do a bubble stitch. So we now got the green back on our hook. We're going to join our stitch marker on because that was our first stitch. Then we're going to find our next stitch, and we're going to do 2 more single crochets. So 1, and then a second one in the next stitch, 2, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch, 1 and 2. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to do an increase. Then you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the next one we're going to do a change of color with a single crochet. So we're going to pull up a loop, get our brown yarn, that should still be attached, and if it's not, doesn't matter, pull through 2. So we've now got the brown yarn on our hook, and then in the next stitch we're going to do a bubble stitch. So once again we're going to yarn over, insert in the next hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and again we're going to do that 4 more times. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, there should be 6 loops on your hook. Then we're going to switch back to green once again. So we're going to get the green on our hook and pull through all of those loops. And you just want to pull the brown nice and tight. And then in the next stitch we're going to do an increase. So that is 1 and 2. Then again we're going to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, and then an increase, and then we have a final 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. So we've now got the horns on. You can fasten off this brown by just cutting off the end. And for the next round we're going to do 4 single crochets and then an increase. So into that brown, that's our bubble stitch, and that's going to be our first single crochet. Join our stitch marker back on. Then into the next one, this is 2, 3, 4, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, and we're just going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, and then our final one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and increase. Then for the next 6 rounds, we're just going to do single crochets in each stitch around. So don't forget to join your stitch marker on each time you start a new round. And I will meet back once we've done 6 rounds of single crochets. So here's how it should look after you've completed your 6 single crochet rounds. On to the next round, you will do 4 single crochets and then a decrease. So we're going to do regular 4 single crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do a decrease. I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to find your front loop. So you go through the middle of your single crochet. And this loop at the front is the front loop. And the one that's hidden at the back, that is the back loop. When you do a regular single crochet, you're going through both of these, but for a decrease, we're doing an invisible decrease, so you only go through the front loop. So in that front loop, you're going to pull up a loop, then into the next front loop, the next stitch, again, pull up a loop. So you should have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all 3 of those. And we're just going to repeat that sequence, 4 single crochets and then a decrease, all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in those front loops, decrease. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. And our final 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease. In the next round, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So first one, putting that stitch marker on. That's 1, 2, 3, then a decrease, same way we did it before in those front loops. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. Whoops. And our final 1, 2, 3, and decrease. Then I'm sure you can guess the next round is going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. That's the first one. 1, 2, and decrease. 1, 2, decrease. 1, 2, decrease. 1, 2, decrease. 1, 2, decrease. And another 1, 2, and decrease. And for the next one, we're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease all the way around. Showing our stitch marker on that first stitch. So that was 1 single crochet and then a decrease. Single crochet, decrease. Make sure you're going through those front loops. Decrease. Single crochet, decrease. Single crochet, decrease. And our final single crochet and decrease. So now we're going to stuff this in this little hole. Just remove that hook and just start stuffing. Here's how it should look after it's stuffed. We're going to just insert our hook back in. And we're going to do a decrease all the way around. So we're going to do 6 decreases to close this off. So this is the first one. Join that stitch marker on. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you just want to cut off a tail. Take out your stitch marker. If you can, try and pull this piece through, but I can't really do it with this yarn, so I'm going to show you what I do instead. So I put on my needle, and then in the next stitch you're going to go through the front loops only. So you're going to pull through the front loop, and then you're also going to go through that loop that's left that we wasn't able to pull up through, and it kind of creates a bit of a slip stitch. So we're going to do that in the next 5 rounds, just in the front loops only. So this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you should have done 6 loops altogether at the end. You want to close it and then make a little knot, and then just pull through a random stitch, and we can cut that off. So here we've got his body. Next we're making the arms, and you will do a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it, the same way that we did before. And you're going to just chain 1 for that first stitch, same way we did before, then 5 more single crochets into this magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you should have 6 single crochets in this magic ring. Pull it nice and tight. Then we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch around for the next 2 rounds. So this is going to be our first one. That's a single crochet. Put our stitch marker in, and we're just going to do 5 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then once again, we can turn this inside out now as well, so it's the correct way around, and do 6 more single crochets. Put our stitch marker back on. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you can take your stitch marker off. I'm going to tuck that end in, and I'm going to fold this little piece flat, and you should have matching stitches. Because there's 6, there should be 3 matching stitches. So these 2 match up, those 2 match up, and then those 2 match up, and we're going to go through both sides. So we go into that next stitch and we find the matching one on the opposite side. It should be straight across like that, and we're going to single crochet through both sides. So that was 1, again through both sides, 2, and then our final one, 3. And you can just cut off a nice long tail, and then you're going to do the exact same thing again and make a second arm. Next we will make the legs, and again we're going to start off with a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it. We're going to chain 1 for our first stitch, and then 5 single crochets into that magic ring as we've done all the other times. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull that nice and tight, and then we're going to do an increase in each stitch around. So we're going to do that first stitch, join our stitch marker on, then back in that same stitch, another single crochet, and then increase in each stitch. So this is 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Then for the next round I'm going to do 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So this is going to be the first single crochet, join our stitch marker on, second one, and as I showed you before, remember in those front loops only, we're going to do a decrease. So again in that front loop, and then pull through all 3. So 1, 2, and then in those front loops, decrease, and one more time, 1, 2, and decrease. We can turn this the correct way around now. Then we're going to do a decrease in the first stitch, or the first 2 stitches. So that's our decrease. Join a stitch marker on, and then we're going to do 7 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So we're going to do 8 single crochets. So 1, join that stitch marker on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that is one leg complete. So we're going to fasten that off, leave a nice long tail, and repeat that again and make a second leg. Moving on to the most important part, we're going to do the eye now, and we're going to do a magic ring with 6 single crochets using the black yarn. So we chain 1 and then 5 more single crochets, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've got 6 single crochets in our magic ring now. Pull that tight, and then we're going to increase in each stitch around. So single crochet, join our stitch marker on, and then again another single crochet in that same stitch, and repeat this all the way around. So this is 2 increases, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to change colour in the next stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop, grab our blue, yarn over the hook, and pull through 2, and just pull that black piece tight. And we join on our stitch marker because that is the first stitch. And then we're going to increase in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. So take off your stitch marker, and we're going to do a colour change in that first stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop, and we're going to change to the white. So pull over our hook and then pull through 2. Then we're going to just pull that blue bit nice and tight, and that should be our new colour joined on. Add our stitch marker on, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So that's 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. You can fasten all of this off as well. I forgot to do that because it's getting in my way now. One, 2. So here's how it should look. We're going to take this out and we're going to do a slip stitch in this stitch here. So we're just going to pull up a loop and then through the loop on your hook. And here's how it should look. We're going to pull off a nice long tail. I like to put this piece facing towards the horn, because then we can make the little shine on the eye. So you want to just go through the body and then go through the head all the way around. You could sew the eye on whatever way you prefer. I just prefer to go back 1 stitch and then forward 2 stitches. So that is the eye joined on. We're just going to go through a random stitch and pull it through. Just make sure your stitches are nice and even. And then we can cut this off. Next we'll sew on the arms. I like to have them a bit angled, so it's not straight down, it's a bit like this, so the arms are facing forwards a little bit. I do it directly below the horn over rounds 9 and 10. So just around here. The next arm, the same thing, but we're going to sew them onto round 9 and 10. And we're going to stuff the feet a little bit, so just put a little bit of stuffing in those feet. And we're just going to sew these legs directly onto the bottom. I don't really put them in a specific place, I just see where it looks right, usually in line with the horn, and then just sew them on. And then the same thing on the other side, just make sure it's in line, and I just sew that on. I'm going to get a long piece of white yarn, and we're going to use this to make the shine for the eye. So you can just go in through a random stitch, and you want to come out on the edge of that piece there, and you basically want to cover where you did that color change. So you want to go into the black and come out around the side. And you want to just keep going over it until that piece is covered. And then go back in through that same stitch, and you want to come out just here in the black piece. And we're just going to make another little bit of shine on the eye, just to make it look a bit more realistic. And then back through that same stitch we inserted it in. And there we've got a little Mike Wazowski, so we're just gonna, so then we just tie this off. And then with some black yarn, we're also going to make the smile. So we're just going to cut off a piece of black yarn. And then we're going to do a bit of a straight-ish smile under the eye. So you just want to make sure it's quite even where you're placing the other side of the mouth. And then you want to come out of that same stitch and there we've got a mouth on. We just have to tie this off. And cut that off. Then tuck this little piece in here. And you have now finished making your very own Mike Wazowski. I would absolutely love to see yours if you've made one. So do tag me at raisa.art on everything.